Hi, welcome. So, I'm holding my phone right now, so this video is going to get a wee bit shaky. But I really wanted to do a tour of my Beat Poetry shelf, which is all of these wonderful books currently on display. I've actually organized most of my bookshelf, so there's certain themes involved. This is a lot of books about writing, some self-help stuff. Up here is my infamous poetry section, which desperately needs to be expanded. Down here, I have books mainly revolving around performing arts, so I have a lot of plays, I have a lot of books about auditioning, etc., etc. Over there's my comics section, which is also getting a revamp fairly soon. But I really wanted to. I know I look ridiculous. Hi. Hello. I am small. But today I really wanted to go over my Beat Poetry bookshelf because I'm constantly talking about Beat Poetry. But today I wanted to talk about my Beat Literature bookshelf because I'm constantly talking about Beat Poetry and Beat Literature and how much I enjoy that particular genre and the work that was created during that time, even though I know that there are so many books that I'm missing. The ones that I've read are really interesting to me, and they all kind of have like a very important aspect to them. So I am going to go through them. So my Beat Literature collection is on the front half of this particular shelf. The rest is anthologies, classics. Over here I have, from left to right, Howl by Allen Ginsberg. And I'll go into each book a little bit more. And then I have Mind Breaths by Allen Ginsberg. I really enjoy his poetry. Okay, so I'll be real with you. I actually haven't read these three by Jack Kerouac. The Tristeza, Big Sur, Beat Generation. I have not read those yet because I'm still trying to finish On the Road, and it's very, very long, and this is like my third time trying to get through it. But so far, it's pretty good. And then over here, I have Diane DePrima's Memoirs of a Beatnik. It's a little beat. This is one of the Beat Poetry books that I've owned for a while, that I've personally beaten up. Like, I buy a lot of books secondhand. So a couple of these are worn out and like tore up. That's how I got them. This one was in like perfect condition when I bought it, and then I took it everywhere with me for a brief period of time. And then this is Carolyn Cassidy's Off the Road. I've yet to read this yet, but I'm really, really excited to. And then here's the Leroy Jones Amari Baraka reader. So he was a poet that had started out kind of as a beat poet, but then later moved into Black nationalism. So he at one point changed his name. His work is very, very interesting. And then I also have some literary critiques. So I have Naked Angels, The Lives and Literature of the Beat Generation, which talks about kind of the biographies of the main beat writers, if you will, as well as talking about their works. And then Beat Down to Your Soul by Ann Charters is a massive book that I also got at a used book place, and it is absolutely phenomenal. It covers so much about the beat movement and really gives you a variety of things to read, as well as interviews, and I really enjoy this one too. So now I'm gonna like do a more in-depth book thing. So Howl by Allen Ginsberg is one of the mainstay, really big pieces of beat literature, partially because it's not only very well known, but because the publication of Howl was incredibly controversial and led to a obscenity trial that was heard before the Supreme Court, and really pushed the First Amendment And that's definitely one of the things that the Beat Poets and the Beat Museum in San Francisco talks about a lot is freedom of speech. So this book is remarkable because of that and what it did for publishing and First Amendment rights, but also just because the poetry in here is phenomenal. Along with the namesake poem, Howl, several of the other poems are just gorgeously written. I do recommend, however, if you're interested in reading Allen Ginsberg, he was heavily, heavily inspired by Walt Whitman, and his poetry tends to be pretty lengthy. So, if that's not your cup of tea, he might not be the best fit for you, but if you read at least like Howl and America by Allen Ginsberg, you're in for an absolutely wonderful treat. I don't even know how to talk about the Beat movement without talking about Diane di Prima. Memoirs of a Beatnik is sexy at times, but also uncomfortable and unflinching in some of its sexual portrayals of what the Beat movement was like. And she also talks a lot about like the mental health issues and the drug use that was also incredibly common amongst the young people in the scene. And this book is amazing. And I read it way too young. I should not have read it when I did, but it really captured a lot of aspects of the Beat movement, especially through a woman's eyes, because when a lot of people talk about the Beat movement, they talk about William Burroughs, Jack Kerouac, and Allen Ginsberg, and to a slightly lesser extent, Neal Cassady as some of the like landmark people. But there were women in the Beat movement, and their stories are important. So Diane really captures this. Unfortunately, she passed away earlier this year, and that hurts my heart so much because I would have absolutely loved to meet her, especially as a young poet. I would have absolutely loved to, start up correspondence. But I hope that she rests in peace, and I hope that more people read this because it really does capture the things that she saw as a beatnik. So next up are On the Road and Big Sur by Jack Kerouac. I'll be real with you, this is like my third time trying to read On the Road. It's a lot. I really want to read it in the widely published form, but I also want to purchase the original scroll, which is how he wrote it. It just one big blurb. Jack Kerouac was known for taking a lot of uppers and doing his writing. So he just like would work furiously on a lot of drugs. Also, I'm incredibly silly, and I bought Big Sur because I saw it at a museum that I went to, and I recognized his name, and I was like, oh, I should really start reading some of Jack Kerouac's work, because this is when I started getting into beat poetry and beat literature. But then I realized that Big Sur is the sequel to On the Road, and I had a teacher that I absolutely adore who lent me his personal copy of On the Road, which was very, very old and very, very much destroyed, and I didn't want to add to that destruction anymore, so I actually just had to buy my own copy. And it's really fulfilling my sense of wanderlust right now, because On the Road is about traveling and seeing the world and kind of being young and rebellious and hitchhiking and all that wonderful stuff. So I really, really enjoy it, because that's not really something that we can do right now, and it's kind of fulfilling my sense of adventure and getting me excited for the future. So, yeah. These are the only two that I've even attempted to read. I haven't read my other two Jack Kerouac books yet because On the Road is so lengthy and I don't have a lot of time to read right now. Now, this is a big one. This is a beast. I acknowledge that. There are about, maybe 600 and something pages. And I can imagine that if someone isn't incredibly interested in the beat movement, that they might not be very interested or excited about this. But I love it so much. I have not finished it because I like to jump around in anthologies and go, ooh, that looks interesting, or that looks interesting. I actually open to the Diane DiPrima section right now because that's kind of just where my hand landed. But she, talks a lot about the stuff that she is writing and was writing at the time. And this is just absolutely a massive collection. It really includes a lot of the people that you don't necessarily think of when we talk about the Beat movement, which I really appreciate because I love getting a really strong feel for what is going on. And I really love learning as much as possible about the Beat movement. And there's also a really, really just a phenomenal interview with the women writers of the Beat generation, which, once again, it's one of those things where they talk a lot about the men of the Beat movement, but we really should also talk about the women of the Beat movement. And this book also talks about the writers of color who were also in this movement as well. So I really enjoy this book. It's absolutely massive. If you know someone who's interested in Beat literature and kind of wants to get a nice, healthy sampling of the different writers that were involved with that movement, this actually might be a really great gift for them. I know that this is another one of the used books that I bought at a little bookstore that is sadly no more. But, this just, it's the best. It's absolutely perfect for reading and scrolling through and just taking a nice afternoon to learn about a new poet or a new writer. So as time goes on, I know I'm going to get more books, and I am fully aware that this is going to continue to expand, and I know that there are several books in this shelf that I haven't gotten the chance to finish reading yet, so I hope that I can update you as I go along, and as I kind of go down this journey of reading and exploring literature, and I hope you enjoy it.